Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I managed to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. This is an episode that I was not too happy to have to make, not because I'm not happy doing the podcast, but this is something happening to me that I did not appreciate and do not like. Okay, for those of you, you know that I'm disabled. You know that I'm a disabled male. So I am on Medicare so they pay. They're supposed to pay for all my lab tests and all my procedures. But here comes the kicker. I tried to get a lab test, a simple PCA lab test to be paid for. It was done all the way in October of last year. So I go this time to go to the lab work, and they go and they tell me, if this test isn't paid, the next time we're not going to be able to service you. I'm like, what is going on here? So, I call back again. I call the prescribing doctors, and they go, we've tried to do this a number of times, and this doesn't work. I'm like, oh no. So, here's what I'm going to have to do, this is the part that I am not happy with. This is the part that I am not comfortable with. Because I have to now go on a payment plan and pay for this test. I don't agree with having to pay for this because I think that Medicare should pay. This is a government issue that I'm not happy with. So I'm telling you, I'm going to have to go on this plan. So what's going to happen is Monday, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to record another podcast while it's fresh on my mind on how that went. Because I would love for you to know how that went for me. And for you guys to know that this is not something I'm very happy with. Having to do this is terrible. Having to put money out of my pocket for something that they should pay for is not something I want to deal with. It's something that's not, I don't believe is fair. I believe that Medicare should automatically pay for people that are on Medicare without having the ability to deny. But the kicker is that there's 2 lab tests that they've done from the same doctor that they paid for. So to this day, I don't understand what the problem is. I don't know. It's something that I don't know what's happening and weird because they should pay. They normally pay, but this one's a mess. There's 2 from the same place where they're paying for it. So I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what's going on. Once I get on the plan, I'm going to communicate with the doctor's office to see if they can find out if they can explain to me what is going on and why this is. I don't know. Like I said, this is not something that should happen. If they agree to take me on, they should agree to pay for all my lab tests. And not pick and choose. This is very frustrating to have to do this. Very, very, very frustrating. I am not happy. I'm normally talk about my life and there's some of the good things, most good things, some bad things that happen, but no, this is horrible. But you know what? I'm an adult. I have to book up Monday and go do what call where I have to call and get things done. But this is not right. I still don't know why this happens. So I'm just telling you this: be aware of the situations. These situations can happen. It's scary. I've had a number of times when the, when billing codes have not been submitted correctly. I contact the lab, and they will go ahead and submit and ask the doctor to send them codes. They submit. It's fine, and it happens all the time. But I don't know why this is occurring. I don't like this. I'm very not happy with this situation. This situation is bad. I don't know why I have to go out of my go out of my way and out of my pocket to get this thing done when they should have paid for this long time ago, and without all this runaround and rigmarole. It's not the doctor's fault. It's Medicare that doesn't want to pay. I don't understand what the issue is. I don't get it, because this is something they paid for. They paid for it before. They paid for a treatment that was much more expensive than this, and a replanning and everything else. So I don't understand why this is not being paid for. They say it's a diagnostic code, but I don't understand what the problem. I don't understand what the problem is. So this is not something I'm happy with, but this is part of my life. This is why I'm talking to you, to explain to you how I feel. So let me ask you, has this ever happened to any of my listeners, I wonder? And how did you deal with it when they keep refusing it? How? I would love to know. Thank you for telling me if you can. But if you don't want to, that's also up to you. It is not, if you don't want to tell me, that's not necessary, but I would love to know. This is very annoying. You have to deal with this situation. I believe somebody is not doing their job correctly in Medicare, in the claims department, because I don't know what the problem is, because normally they pay for this test. So hopefully we figure out what is happening, and I will tell you on Monday how easy the process is. It's not something I wanted to do, because again, I'm going out of my way to deal with something that I shouldn't have to deal with. When I was in a local hospital with Medicaid this time, I was getting outpatient treatment there, and all of a sudden I get this bill. Bill for some lab tests. I get a bill. I don't pay for it. Everything's fine. And all of a sudden one day, they send me a bill and they say that I'm going in collections. If you don't know what collections is, it is something when you don't pay something, they pay this company and they send you to collections, and you lose your credit when this happens. But the thing was, I didn't have credit because I didn't have any credit. But I still didn't want this thing looming over my head, because it's not right. So I went there and I took a bill to the hospital with me. So we took this bill, and I said, I don't have any credit right now, but I want this cleared because this is not my problem. So this is not my problem. And they went ahead and paid for it and sent me a letter clearing me of that responsibility. That is not something I don't have. Now I have to pay for this on a payment plan, which is more obnoxious because it's hard for us disabled people to afford these unforeseen bills that are high. So it's something that we should have to be very aware of, and make sure that they get their quota correctly, because that's the moral of the story here. Make sure that everything is coded correctly so that you don't get billed. And if it is not coded correctly, make sure you call your doctors that prescribe and ask orders to be and ask tests to be run. It is their responsibility, not mine, to do that. I just use myself as an example, which is happening to me now. This is live. This is happening right now, and I don't agree with this, but anyway, we have to deal with it. This is something that I hope never to have to talk about again today, ever again after Monday, because after Monday, because on Monday I'll record another episode to this. This is gonna be part 1. Now part 2 is gonna be how easy the process is and all of that. With that, thank you for listening. In closing, let me say thank you for listening to this episode of The Disabled Life. You can follow me on the following platforms. You can follow me at Good Pods. You can leave comments, messages there. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Disabled Guy. And you can also listen to me on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and many others. Once again, thank you for listening, and I'll also give you my email. My email is Kilo Echo 4 Kilo Echo Yankee, or KE4KEY@gmail.com. Once again, thank you, and thank you for your support, and I'll see you next week.